God, it's good to be back. And I want to thank all the great hosts who took time out of their vacations to fill in. And we spent most of our vacation around the hospital as well as home. My wife had major back surgery. She's recovering as I speak, listening as I speak. And we love her very much. And, of course, we're hoping for the best. It just takes a long time to recover from major back surgery. It's a new year. Now, it's weird, this New Year stuff. Like, suddenly things are going to change. It's a new year. So suddenly the police state that is the Biden administration is going to back off. So suddenly the border is going to be secured. So suddenly we're going to properly fund the United States military. So suddenly the miscreants, malcontents, terrorists supporting Marxists in the streets are going to go away. So suddenly half the nation that hates the cops will embrace the cops. And I can go on and on. It doesn't work that way. Now, I don't mean to throw a wet blanket on New Year's Eve, but I think it's best described by what took place at CNN. I don't watch it. I despise it. It's not a news network. It is a collection of social misfits. And there's two gentlemen drinking tequila to bring in the new year. That's about the way it goes over there at CNN. Yeah, that's the way it goes. You think Hamas cares that it's a new year? Islamic Jihad? You think the gangs in our cities slaughtering each other, they give a damn that it's a new year? Really? They could care less. I'm worried about 2024. A lot. I'm worried about it a lot. And so it is that we have to recognize what we're up against in order to engage it and defeat it. God gave us free will. We pray to God, most of us. But what we learned from the Bible is God gives us free will to follow what's right or to follow what's wrong, and we pay the consequences. You and I, we, really by blessings, by things out of our control. We were born in the United States of America. What a fantastic country. Embraces individualism, free will, liberty, private property rights. Government's supposed to be limited and diversified. So that if people want to make something of themselves, they can do it. But if people don't, then they wind up on the streets. But that doesn't mean we don't try and help people who need help. I mean, we're breaking our country's back financially in the name of redistribution of wealth. But that's not my point. Republics don't survive very long. The Roman Republic, even though the empire lasted 1,000 years, survived less than 500 years. Athens, less than that. The British Empire is no longer an empire. Britain's been invaded. Europe's been invaded from the Middle East. That's right, I said it, and I will say it, and that's the statistics. As I said, I speak the truth, and we've got to confront what's taking place. I've told you before, the puzzle about liberty, what vexes us about liberty is liberty gives evil people the ability to destroy it. You hear people even today saying, these people have a right to protest and so forth. Shutting down airports, threatening people, scaring people, talking about the annihilation of people. Tell me, how many people are going to prison over these acts? None. None. Not one. Not one. I laugh. January 6th was an insurrection. Really? An unarmed insurrection? Where nobody was killed except one person by the Capitol Police? That's some insurrection. Where the President of the United States offered the National Guard to protect the Capitol building and it was rejected by the Democrats? That's some insurrection. There was no insurrection on January 6th. You are living through an insurrection right now. It doesn't have to have a specific date that we put on a calendar. It doesn't have to have a specific moment that we talk about every year and lament. It has been a slow-burning insurrection. In academia, which hands out tenure to Islamists, tenure to Marxists, tenure to people who hate America, faculty at poison ivy colleges who in turn hire the faculty that follows them. Hire this president. I'll get the president gay in a minute. Look at our media. Look at these people. They're not serious people. They're punks. Those of us who went to college, those of us who went to law, we've seen people like this. They're fools. They're buffoons. They have no accountability. They have no responsibility. And yet they are accountable for and responsible for the great divide in many respects in this country. If they only told the truth or even tried to tell the truth. But they take sides, and they take the wrong sides. We have people in this country who hate the country. Why are people driving around in cars with the Palestinian flag? Referencing the Third Reich. Referencing Auschwitz. Who do these people vote for? Think they vote for Donald Trump? Think they would vote for any Republican? Who are these people? Well, let me get right to the middle of it. Immigration and academia and the media. This is the iron triangle of evil in America today. The media as a concept, free speech, freedom of the press, crucially important to a republic if it's going to survive. No question about it. But we don't have that. We don't have a free press or free speech. Certain speech is permitted and certain speech isn't permitted, depending on your ideology, depending on your viewpoint. We don't have a free press. We don't have a press that actually tries to report news in as objective way as possible. We know this. I wrote an entire book on it, on freedom of the press. There's a study that just came out that about 3.7% of the press is Republican. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's not a free press. That is an ideological propaganda operation. That's what it is. That's what you see every day. That's what you hear every day if you're watching television, mostly cable, except for Fox and a few others. The purpose of immigration is to strengthen our country, not to weaken it. And immigrants are supposed to respect the laws, the rules, the people, the culture of the country to which they seek to enter. They are to embrace the culture. They are to be assimilated into our culture, not the other way around. What you see in the streets the last several months is the opposite. You don't see patriotic Americans voicing their rights, their free speech rights about some issue. No. You see people in the streets who are recent generation, young, first, second generation, in the streets, making the most vile, anti-American, anti-Semitic statements. we've ever heard in this country, ever. And they are joined by the Marxists. And sometimes they're one and the same, but not always. And who are the Marxists? Well, they can be immigrants too, but many of them are homegrown. They're punks. They're not the 65% of the American people who don't go to college. They're the 35% of the people who've graduated from a 4-year, quote-unquote, education, a.k.a. indoctrination. They come out of our colleges and universities brainwashed. And that's the way it was supposed to be. That's the way John Dewey wanted it 120 years ago. That's the way Marx taught them. Destroy all social norms. Destroy the status quo. Destroy the relationship between the child and the parent. Destroy it all. Create something new. And what do they create? It's not new. It's tyranny. These two forces have joined. And by the way, they all vote Democrat. Maybe they'll vote third party, but they don't vote Republican. Republicans have their own problem, but not related to this per se. Why do you think the border's open? Does it help the United States of America, the citizens who are here, the legal immigrants who are here? Does it help when nearly 800,000 aliens have hit our border since October 1st? Where millions of people have come into this country unvetted? We have no idea who they are. This is purposeful. This isn't an accident. This isn't Mother Nature. It's not climate change. This is purposeful. This is Obama. And the other Marxists. Biden's administration is Obama's administration. It's the third term. It's exactly what it is. Biden hates this country. What do you mean, Mark? Well, he's a funny way of loving it. Funny way of showing he supports it. But it's Obama. It's his troopers throughout the government who are doing this. The bigger the government gets, the less control and say you have over it. And now you have almost no say and no control over it. Right? Academia. For half a century, under the rubric of academic freedom, the Marxists, the leftists, the radicals, call them what you will, have spent that time building an infrastructure within our academic system. Tenure, hiring practices, ideological tests, the impossibility of removing a professor, claiming it's all academic freedom and free speech when it's, of course, the opposite. They own higher education in this country. We don't. We don't even have a say. Oh, there's a few outliers out there, a few colleges, a few. But there's thousands of colleges in this country. Why do you think that their budgets are open-ended? Why do you think student loans are being waived? Then you have the media, the American media. The American media is a propaganda operation. When one says something, it's whispered down the lane. They all say the same thing. There's no difference between the Sunday shows. There's no difference, other than Fox, between the morning shows. There's no difference between and among the hosts. It's the same damn thing, no matter what channel you put on, no matter what newspaper you read. Now, I'm getting to a point, but I have to take a break. I'll be right back.